possible drug dealer, child groomer, and possible cult leader, who was going to allegedly try to start a revolution of Native Americans against the government, against the Freemasons, against the FBI, under the guise of a new religion led by him, the Messiah. Yes, that's what Warner Brothers had to deal with going into their Flash, their $300 million blockbuster with Ezra Miller as a leading star. They had no choice, really. Sometimes I'll dip my toes into the degeneracy of Hollywood and the people they allow in their circles, and I'll go at certain celebrities. I've done it with Jared Leto, Dwayne Johnson, Vin Diesel, Pedro Pascal. I've done it with many, many people. Sometimes it's very much needed. Now, for anyone who thinks this is defamation, for any lawyers that may or may not be watching this, I don't know. No defamation here. This is a comedy. I'm playing a character. This is a Dave Chappelle show. This is not serious. Okay? I'm Bill Burr, except I'm not selling my soul for Saudi Arabia. Now, no defamation here. This is straight facts. I'm reading everything that's factual based on statements and things that have been put online. There's a lot of people in my comment sections when I make videos like this who, they tend to think you're hating somebody if they're of a higher status than you. And there's no thought given to the idea that maybe they might be guilty or a weirdo in real life, and maybe the criticism is valid. You're a loser for trying to bring them down. Don't be a hater because they're successful. This is like a very common NPC talking point. A lot of people defend, especially people who are rich or have a high celebrity status or are stars in some regard. If there's things that they do that are suspect and very controversial and you criticize them, you'll be called a hater and dismissed out of hand. There's no realm of possibility where that person could genuinely just be a terrible person, but this is just a lack of critical thinking skills we're dealing with certain people. And then this is the one I love the most, because this shows me how infantile the brains are of these people. If he or she was guilty, they'd be in jail. So why are you talking about it? They're not in jail, they're good. Is that how your pea brain thinks the world works? I really want the keys to whatever fantasy world you live in, because I think that world's a much nicer one than the world we live in. You're telling me that in the course of humanity, there's not a single guilty person that's escaped prison? Is that how the world works? You dumb fuck. A message to the Hollywood studios who ignored all of this and pretended like it didn't happen. I find it funny how you studios, Warner Brothers, Disney, all these different companies, preach about female empowerment, Me Too, and helping vulnerable people, but when it really comes down to it, they don't give a fuck. They really don't give a fuck. The only thing they care about is profit. Now, I knew there was something wrong with Ezra Miller ever since I saw him in We Need to Talk About Kevin, where he played a psychopathic sociopath dude who commits violent atrocities. I knew there was something wrong with this motherfucker, alright? There was a string of controversies around him leading into that Flash movie that we need to talk about. And it gives me vibes of the Johnny Lewis case. If you know about Johnny Lewis, he's the actor well known for being half-sacked from Sons of Anarchy. He was also an AVPR and a couple things. He had a lot of problems with his brain. And it caused him to kill a bunch of people and then accidentally off himself. So, really, really weird situation. Dark and fucked up situation. And Ezra Miller gives me those vibes. You need to understand, Ezra Miller has faced the degeneracy of Hollywood firsthand. When he was a kid who was underage, a bunch of producers wined and dined him, apparently, according to him, and said they wanted him to be part of their gay revolution movie project that they were working on. And he said, fuck you, you all are monsters. Apparently, allegedly, according to him. So he's already been under the microscope of some of these seedy, vile producers. His mom and dad divorced. This really spiraled him into a mental health crisis. Then we get the preceding incidents. And in Iceland, there's a notorious video of him wrestling with a girl. I don't actually know the context of this, so I need to put that out there right now. It seems to be very playful, tongue-in-cheek, what they're doing. And then he starts being very aggressive with her, saying, hey, you want to play? You want to fight, huh? You want to fight? Yeah, you want to fight? And starts choking her in front of everyone to the point where people behind the camera had to run and take him off and grab him off and tell him to chill. So clearly right there, something's a bit off. He doesn't have a problem with violating people's personal boundaries, especially women, right? That's going to be a very noticeable pattern. Now, some people defended it saying, well, if you think about it, how many times have actors gotten mad at fans or paparazzi yelling at them or punching them? So this is normal. It's messed up, but it's still normal. This is not a substantive statement to me. Why the fuck would you just... This is a nothing statement. Oh, this happens all the time, so, it's normal, but, it's still fucked up. What? You're saying nothing. You're saying nothing. Yeah, it happens all the time. Doesn't make it good. And this motherfucker, there's very few actors that I've seen publicly not give a shit and just start choking out a woman in front of everybody, by the way. I've seen actors yell at paparazzi and maybe get into a scuffle with them, but this? Goddamn. And in another incident, he accused various members of a town of housing KKK members and said, I'm going to kill them all, or they should all kill themselves, they should all off themselves, or they're all going to die. And apparently what happened was, he posted a video on Instagram targeting the Belleville chapter of the Ku Klux Klan. This doesn't reportedly exist. So, you know, Ezra, it's cool that you want to take out KKK members and all that, like, you don't like them, but this doesn't exist. The police said no organization like that was there. There was no chapter of that. There's no record of that. So we're seeing some kind of delusions of grandeur arising from him. Now, the stuff I've mentioned, this isn't anything crazy bad, right? The choking at the woman is weird, sus, and shouldn't happen ever. But that's not crazy bad. And then him going after KKK members that aren't there, he's just, okay, this guy's a bit of a lunatic. But we're going to get into the worst shit. In Hawaii, he was charged with a couple things. Harassment and physical abuse. Grabbed a microphone, lunged at a man who was playing darts at this karaoke/bar place. And then he was charged with second-degree assault after allegedly throwing a chair, striking a woman in the forehead, giving her a cut. And this happened at a private residence. So, 2 different locations where he's going off on people. So something's clearly wrong. He doesn't care about violating physical boundaries, especially when it comes to women. Now we get the Dakota Iron Eye situation. This is the most infamous part of his entire debacle. According to her parents, and she's an activist, okay? She's well known for like doing activism with Greta Thunberg and all that. And according to her parents, she was groomed by Ezra Miller since she was 12. They met when she was 12, and he was grooming her, getting really close with her, and trying to manipulate her into doing things with him, okay? Now, apparently she dropped out of school to follow him, and he started indoctrinating her. She's denied all this. She's denied being a victim of his. Keep in mind, a lot of grooming victims will not go at the predator at hand who's victimizing them, right? A lot of grooming victims are psyoped. I don't know if shell shock syndrome, it might not even be the word here. They're just literally just psyoped into thinking the guy has their best wishes at heart. She would show up with bruises on her body caused by Ezra Miller. She would be given alcohol while she was underage. He would have weapons around her and stuff. Like, there was a lot of inappropriate behavior towards her, and he was trying to bring her into his organization, his cult. The cult that he would basically grow at Miller's farm, his farm. We're going to get to that farm and what was going on inside there, because there's a lot of weird shit happening here, okay? She would bear witness to like guns, drugs, marijuana, and alcohol regularly. And he would say that we need the guns because there are Freemasons actively trying to attack me and kill me, as well as the FBI. I want you to notice something. There's a lot of nunces. I don't know how to pronounce it, nunces. And people who are charged with sexual assault and nuncery, they always point at like some like Illuminati government body trying to attack them. A lot of them do this. It's like repeated. It's like the thing they go to when they know they're backed up into a corner. Now, Ezra Miller claimed to be Jesus, the devil, and the Messiah all in one. The Messiah of the New Age that was going to start a revolution among the Native Americans. He would quote this often, and a lot of cult members, a lot of people who were in his farm, confirmed that this is a belief he had and a belief he instilled in others, okay? He thought he was Lisan al-Gaib from Dune. Freeing the freemen. Giving them a path to paradise. He literally thought he was that guy. Or at least he made them believe that. We don't know why. We don't know what his true goals were. I have a couple theories maybe on what they were, but still. Now, there's a Massachusetts incident where a mother had to get a restraining order to keep him away from her 12-year-old daughter. Another 12-year-old. Remember, the ironized chick, she was 12 when Ezra allegedly started grooming her, according to the parents. So apparently he's threatened the mother multiple times and did inappropriate behavior with the 12-year-old daughter. Apparently like grabbing her up, touching her hips and stuff. Apparently giving alcohol to her too. Apparently that was one of the accusations. Like, again, we're seeing elements of him trying to groom children. No defamation here. This is all what I'm reading off of statements online, and this is a comedy, ultimately. So we're seeing, allegedly, again, and where there's smoke, there's fire, y'all. He has a pattern of behavior. And who knows, he was maybe trying to indoctrinate that girl into his cult. We don't know. But we're getting the same behavior repeated. Now we get to Ezra Miller's farm. This is where things get weird again. So a mother, and I used a random picture here, I'm sorry, because I don't have the identities of the people, but a mother was apparently trying to flee from her abusive husband and sought refuge with Ezra Miller in his farm with her baby. Now, there's a lot of rumors about what went down here. A lot of eyewitness testimony about what was there. Some people said that they thought that based on the equipment there. Ezra Miller was running some kind of marijuana distribution operation. All right, so that one woman said that. I believe it might have been the mother, but I could be wrong. There was cult-like behavior again, him instilling a belief into his people that he is the Messiah and there's this revolution that needs to be started, okay? Fuck ton of guns. It was like an armory of guns, like a lot, especially around children. There were children in this farm. And apparently, the weirdest accusation is that Ezra Miller was smoking marijuana and blew it at a baby, like a toddler. He just blew it at a toddler and used the toddler's hand to like waft the air. What's wrong with this dude? What the hell's going on here? But this is what I'm saying. There's some unhinged activity taking place because the kind of guy, what mindset do you need to be in? You're in a farm with people, one, that you're helping and people who are friends of yours, and you're building a community in a farm. You have guns everywhere, marijuana, like a distillery. You're smoking and blowing it on babies, using their hand to waft, and it could be the child of a mother who's seeking refuge with you. What's the mindset here? And this is a person who's been assaulting people left and right and all this stuff, of treating women harshly, right? You can imagine there was some kind of cycles of abuse happening here. This is straight up out of a horror movie. Like, I can see it right now. A woman fleeing a case of domestic abuse and finding refuge in this sanctuary, this community at this farm. And then it turns out that farm is very sadistic and shady, and the leader is also very shady. Like, this is literally the plot of a horror movie. This is borderline Hereditary level shit, all right? Thank God no killings occurred. Police had come to find this woman who was missing with her child. This mother with her baby. I think she fled Ezra Miller's farm. But they asked Ezra Miller, has she stayed with you? Do you know where she is? And he lied. He blatantly lied. It's an obstruction of justice too, I'm pretty sure. Or at least he did do an illegal act by lying to them because it was proven that she was at the farm with them. He lied to them about where she was and not knowing who she was and all this stuff. Since then, nothing's been really made of this whole farm incident. It's probably disbanded, obviously, by now because of all the shit with Ezra Miller getting arrested and stuff. What was the plan here? Because we know that Ezra Miller was threatening to kill the KKK. He thought FBI agents and everyone was against him. He wanted to start a revolution of Native Americans against the government and against, I don't know, just people in general. He had a lot of violence, threats towards citizens, threats towards women. I really want to know and he's grooming children, acting inappropriate towards them. So this reminds me of the situations where cult leaders start like a ranch of people, and they claim it's for some revolution or some kind of ideology that will save the world, but it's really for their own selfish, desires. And there's a lot of women that happen to be in that ranch too. Like, it reminds me of one of those situations. And then he got arrested for burglary. Apparently he walked into somebody's house and stole alcohol from the fridge or some shit and got arrested for it. So this dude's off the rails, all right? This guy's just fucking off the rails clean. Now, in 2023, all this shit went down. The Flash movie's coming out was already filmed and made. $200-300 million, I don't know how much, however money they put into it. Warner Brothers was shitting themselves. Warner Brothers was backed into the ultimate corner by Ezra. Warner Brothers was like, bro, what the fuck do we do? This moron went on a rampage leading up to this film. So Warner Brothers went completely quiet on the media end of this. They were getting asked a lot of questions by reporters. A lot of people, a lot of fans were calling for this dude to get punishment for this, to be recasted, all this stuff. Warner Brothers is like, all right, listen, we put so much money into this. We need to release it. This moron is the star of our show, but fuck it. We're going to go completely dark. We're not going to answer any questions. We'll just tell people, oh, we're looking into it. Done. Brush it under the rug. Let's just let this movie go and make the money it's going to make. Now, this isn't the first time Warner Brothers would have to reorganize their decision-making around a person who has controversy. Amber Heard, obviously. They had to cut a lot of her scenes from Aquaman 2. Obviously, this was after them firing Johnny Depp. They didn't make any statement apologizing to Depp. I know apparently they want him back, I guess, later, but Warner Brothers does not have any moral measure when it comes to any of these situations, okay? It's just about what's going to cause them to do damage. The whole Amber Heard situation already happened. They already filmed stuff with her because they didn't care what people said about her. Again, same with Ezra Miller. People were asking for him to be recast before Flash had been released, by the way. A year before. Warner Brothers didn't give a fuck. They still went on with it, and then shit hit the fan too much to the point where they were like, okay, fuck it, we don't have a choice. Just stay quiet. Don't let him come into the promotional material at all. Don't let him come into any of the red carpets or the marketing. Just keep a low profile. Let this storm ride out. Apparently, Warner Brothers was okay with a Flash sequel if it had done well in theaters, but I think they knew that it wouldn't do well in theaters. They had an idea, and once it did, that's when they were like completely done with cutting ties with Ezra Miller. Only when it wasn't profitable. People have been calling for him to be removed way prior to the film's release. They didn't give a fuck. They were waiting for the box office. Now, when James Gunn came through, again, nobody had any clear answers on what would happen to Ezra Miller if there was any punishment. Again, Gal Gadot hadn't. I don't think she had been confirmed to have been recasted as Wonder Woman. I don't think she had been confirmed to have left the DCU either. The only one who had been confirmed to be replaced was Henry Cavill's Superman, and a lot of people went off on James Gunn for, why are you firing Henry Cavill from the role or recasting him and not Ezra Miller? Now, eventually, Ezra Miller would be removed, but it took them so long to make the decision afterwards. It was so long of them giving non-answers about the Ezra Miller situation that everyone just got pissed off. Considered all of this followed 1 year of fan outcry, and it took them this long to not even have a public statement about it. This was the most wuss way to get out of anything. They were so lucky that shit bombed the way it did, because then they had all the excuses in the world to just move on. And the DCU was already getting rebooted by this point. Everyone knew about it. And they still acted like it was all good. Like they were still silent about it. They still tried to brush it under the rug. The box office flop was the deciding factor to them, not Ezra Miller's controversy, because it wasn't enough. Again, a lot of it was alleged, based on what people said. But I'm sorry, if enough people, if an actor is put into such hot water through accusations, these producers, these companies, these corporations have shown that they will drop you like that. We've seen it with actors multiple times. In this case, it just wasn't fast enough, because we've already made the movie, fucking put it out there, just go silent about it, and they were still silent about it so long after. Idiots. Some of these production companies will be very quick to drop an actor, and then for some of them, they'll just let it float and wait till everyone forgets about it. They'll be very silent about it, so they can ride out the storm and get their movie out. It's just very interesting how Hollywood works. But regardless, Ezra Miller's career is pretty much cooked. He hasn't been in an acting role since The Flash, thank God. He's been in some modeling gigs, I think, but there hasn't been any real consequence. He got like a year of probation, and that's it. Apparently he's getting mental health help. Good, I'm glad. I hope he gets better. It's just really fucked up that all this happened, and it could have gotten really bad too, man. If he wasn't arrested for the burglary thing, I truly think the guns at his farm, the cult activity, the revolution, all this stuff, I truly think something worse would have happened. So we were very close to maybe getting a really bad situation, Johnny Lewis level situation, based on his entire pattern of behavior. This guy didn't care about crossing physical boundaries. He didn't care that he was grooming children. He didn't care about any of that. He didn't care that he had guns lying around with kids. Something really bad would have went down. Warner Brothers wasn't stopping him. They didn't give him any consequence, those dumb fucks. That's all I'm going to say about that. Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on a mission to take over Hollywood. But the army must keep growing. If you want to suggest video topics to me, or talk about your favorite movies or favorite film theories in a community with like-minded individuals, join the Zafy Discord now. Link is in the description and the comment section as well. Join us. This movement is just beginning. We're taking over Hollywood, one coke line at a time.